Hi, second graders. So, welcome to our first pre-recorded video that goes along with our reading story. So, this week our story is A Bad Case of Stripes, and I'm going to try to share my screen here if I can figure out how to do it for you. Going to, I can't figure it out. So, we read A Bad Case of Stripes by David Shannon. This is actually one of my favorite books. You should have gone to YouTube and I gave you the playlist for you to watch the video for it. So if you just went to me, bring it up so I make sure we all watch the same thing. It was this video right there. The Kids Book Read Aloud, Bad Case of Stripes by David Shannon. And this is a channel by Miss Becky, and she's got a lot of stories that she reads, and we'll probably see several through the year. She always does kind of a good job, I think. So I'm going to go through just a little bit so we can talk about one of my favorite characters, and her name is Camilla Cream. You can see the book here. If you haven't ever read this book on your own before, I highly recommend it. Reading it instead of just listening to it for just a little bit. This story is about a little girl, just like many of you, who's starting school, but she's so worried about what everybody else is thinking about her. And she goes through her whole closet and she can't find anything to wear. And then she realizes she's got bigger problems. She realizes that she actually has stripes. And I'm sure you discovered why that happened and how they solved that problem as you were reading through the book. But it's a really fun story. But I want to focus mainly on the main character. And that's the skill that we're going to talk about this week is main character. Every story has a main character, and then they usually have some supporting characters as well who are helpful to the story, but not really who the story is all about. Now, in fiction stories, sometimes those characters are people, and sometimes those characters are actually animals. And sometimes those animals even do things that act like people. So that's usually what makes them more a fantasy. This is not a fantasy story per se because it doesn't really have animals that are doing people kind of things, but it is kind of fantastical because this couldn't really happen to Camilla Cream or to any little kid. You couldn't actually get all those stripes like that, thank goodness. But our skill of the week is main character. If you're thinking about who is the main character, you're really asking yourself, who is this story mostly about? And usually that main character is going to face some kind of a problem during the story and that hopefully is solved by the end of the story. So obviously we know who this story is about. It's kind of easy to decide who the main character is, and her name is Camilla Cream. So now we want to think about, let me switch my screen. I want to think about something called adjectives. So here's our story, A Bad Case of Stripes, and the author is David Shannon. And we've already decided that our main character is Camilla Cream. So adjectives are parts of sentences that we use all the time to make our sentences much, much better. You've probably heard of nouns. Nouns are people or places or things like student or teacher or house or King's Island. All of those are nouns. And so we also use adjectives to describe those things, to tell about them in some way. And as you can see on the slide, we can use adjectives to tell about lots of things. We can tell how something tastes, like this sweet popsicle. We can tell what color something is, like this orange cat. We could tell how something smells, like if you wake up and you smell your mom cooking bacon in the morning, you can say, you know exactly what that is. It's yummy bacon, okay? We could tell how something looks, and we use adjectives to describe how things look all the time, like the pretty dress, or the brown hair, or my black shirt. Okay, so you can describe how something looks. You could also describe the size of something. Is it big? Is it little? Is it enormous? Is it gigantic? Is it tiny? All of those things are adjectives that describe the size of something. You could describe how something feels, like if you were to pet this soft bunny, or if you were to touch my kitten's sharp claws, or if you were to, I don't know, stub your toe on the hard wood. All of those would describe how that noun feels. You could also describe how something sounds. Is it quiet? Is it loud? Um, how many of something? Numbers are also adjectives. So did you have one cookie or did you have two cookies? So you're describing the cookies by telling me how many you ate. And then also there's the behavior. How does someone act? Are they funny? Are they silly? Are they sad? Are they mad? All of those are words that would describe a behavior of someone. So I want you to take all of that information about adjectives and how we can use words to describe nouns. And I want you to describe the noun of Camilla Cream. She's our character. She's a girl, so we know she's a noun. So we are going to think, how would we describe Camilla Cream? Actually, what adjectives would you describe, would you use to tell about her? So I went ahead and I just picked two categories here. I know in the poster here, we could describe her in many different ways. Probably not how she tastes, but we could describe her in many different ways. But we're actually only going to think about two ways to describe Camilla Cream. We're going to think how she looks and how she acts. Okay, so I'm just going to start brainstorming here. And you're going to do a little bit of this on your worksheet as well for the work that you will have to do today, which I'll tell you a little more about at the end of this video. Okay, so how does Camilla Cream look? So you start thinking, well, I think she's pretty. And we know that she likes to dress well and she likes to have nice clothes, but I think she's a pretty girl. We could say that let me go back to my picture of Camilla Cream so I can see. In this picture, it looks like she has black hair. And we know that black is an adjective that describes things. I wouldn't just put the word black here because it doesn't tell me what part of her is black. So I would put black hair right there. Obviously, a big part of this story is that she is quite colorful. So that could be an adjective to describe her. We could say she is colorful. You'll probably see me type some things the wrong way and have to fix them too. So colorful. We could even say she's striped because in this story, it's kind of all about her having a bad case of stripes and how she fixes that. How many more adjectives can we think of for how Miss Camilla Cream looks? I think she looks sad in this picture. Remember how we said adjectives can describe behavior or how someone acts as well? But I would think that maybe, I can't decide if that's how she looks or how she acts. I think I'm going to put over here, I'm going to put sad over here because that's more how she's acting with her behavior and her personality than how she physically looks. Like if you were to look at her and you would say, oh, look, she has black hair or she has striped skin. We could even put skin right there now that I think about it. Striped skin. So over here, how she acts. If I think of any more adjectives to describe how she looks, I can go back and add some more. But let's go ahead and switch over to how she acts. We know she acts kind of sad once she gets those stripes, right? She's really worried about how people will react to her and what they will think about her. So how could we describe that, I wonder? Like she's worried. I guess we could have that as an adjective. We would say worried Camilla Cream because she's just so concerned with what other people think about her that she won't even eat lima beans. Can you imagine? I wonder how many of you have ever eaten lima beans, by the way. Sometimes kids haven't tried those before, but I really love lima beans like Camilla Cream does. And if you've ever had some lima beans with a little bit of butter and a little bit of salt, I bet you'll find that they're really yummy. Okay, so maybe by the end of this week, if you haven't tried lima beans before, maybe you can talk your mom into getting some at the store so you can give them a try. Okay, how she acts. Let's see. I think when she discovered the stripes that wouldn't go away, I think she was probably scared. I know I would be scared if I couldn't get rid of something like that and I thought something was really, really wrong with me. So, scared could be a good adjective to describe her as well. In terms of the lima beans, I think she was probably, whoops, let me spell it right, hungry. She wanted those lima beans, but she didn't want just anything. It had to be lima beans to solve the problem because that was showing that she didn't really care what everybody thought of her anymore. And that's what made those stripes and all those other crazy things that she had just fall away. So this would be just a quick way to describe Camilla Cream. There's lots and lots and lots and lots of other words, other adjectives that we could use to describe her as well. But what I want you to think about is what other things or other ways could you describe Camilla Cream? Would other adjectives that you would say to tell me about her, um, to tell me what she looks like, or what something in the story smells like, or what color something was, how did she feel, how did she sound, all of those different adjectives that you could use. And you're going to actually show me on your work. Let me pull up your work that is going to be posted on your Class Dojo student portfolio. If you haven't done any student portfolio lessons yet, this will be your first one. You probably maybe have already done your morning work today, or maybe you did your writing today. But this is a way for you to describe Camilla Cream. And this, I know it looks like it's on here twice. That's because if you were actually in school, I would make one copy of this and I would cut it right here in half, right across the middle. And I would give the top part to one student and the bottom part to another student. And that way we could save paper. But for now, you only need to worry about one half of this page. You're only going to do the top part, or I guess you could pick the bottom part if you really wanted to. But you see that there's Camilla Cream in the middle, and there are 4 circles. So as you go into Class Dojo Student Portfolio and you click on this activity, I want you to click in the circle, and you're actually going to, it'll bring up a text box, and you are going to type right in there, and you're going to type a word that is an adjective that describes Camilla Cream. Now, I know we made a little bit of a list. I don't want you to use only the words that I used on my list, though. Okay, I had maybe 8 of them. There's like 100 other ones we could use to describe Camilla Cream. So the rule is, since there's 4 boxes here, I will let you use one of the adjectives that are on my list. You could use that one on your list too. But the other 3 boxes that are here, I want you to think of your own words that could describe Camilla Cream. So you're going to come up with your own adjectives that could tell me about her as well, which is partly why I didn't put a whole lot of words on my list, because I wanted to make sure you had a chance to use some different words that I didn't already tell you. So you're going to go ahead and do this half sheet. We are describing Camilla Cream using adjectives. That's our word for today, because she is our main character in the story A Bad Case of Stripes. So once you get your 4 adjectives in there, then you can turn that paper into me digitally. There will be a button on your screen that I think it says turn in or something like that. I have to play around with that a little bit myself. And then that'll just get sent right back to me, and I will see that you have finished that work for today. All right, tomorrow we'll do some more work with A Bad Case of Stripes, and we'll start talking about summarizing a story. So that will be our skill for tomorrow. All right, have fun with the story. I hope you really enjoyed it.